So the Titans have 8 positive coronavirus tests among players and staff. I believe it's 3 players. And 5 staff. Now, this was something that people were obviously worried about coming into the season, and something that no one really knew how the hell this would work out, right? So let's read some of the story here. Faces first outbreak of the coronavirus on a team during the 2020 season when the Tennessee Titans shut down in-person activities Tuesday after receiving 8 confirmed tests. The Vikings, who played the Titans on Sunday, also suspended in-person team activities, including practices and face-to-face meetings, at least temporarily. The NFL initially was proceeding Tuesday as if this weekend's game involving the Titans and Vikings will be played as scheduled, pending further testing results, but cancellations or postponements seemingly remained possible. Had 3 positive tests among players, and 5 among staff. So that's pretty much about it. The Vikings said that as of Tuesday morning, they had received no positive tests since Sunday's game against the Titans. The Vikings said in a statement they would work closely with the NFL. So the Titans are supposed to play the Steelers this Sunday. The Vikings are supposed to be on the road to face the Texans. So what do we do, right? What do we want them to do? How do we want this played out? And I thought about this earlier. And obviously before the season, this was something where it's like, what do you do? Could this domino effect and completely ruin the season? I think that we can scale it back a little bit from completely ruining the season. And I think right now the move is, or in my opinion, and this might be looking a little close-sighted, but my opinion, the biggest question mark is the competitive advantage that you can give the teams playing the Vikings and the Titans. And what I mean by that is, if you shut down these teams, and you shut down the Titans, and you shut down the Vikings for, let's just say, 3 days, and then you say, all right, we're going to have the games. How big of an advantage is that for the Steelers and the Texans? That they get the Titans and the Vikings with 3 less days to do anything. I mean, they're cutting down in-person meetings. They're cutting down practice. They're cutting going to the facilities. So these guys can't meet with their coaches. They can't watch game tape. They can't do any of that stuff. Now, yes, you can do it with Zoom or other ways or whatever, but IMO, even though that obviously player safety and all that stuff is way more important, if you are going to have a season, you cannot just say, yeah, man, go play the Steelers, even though the Steelers have had 4 days of preparation and you haven't. You know, like that is competitively, that is such a disadvantage or an advantage, depending on which team you are. So I don't know the domino effect of everything as far as what happens if you replace their bye weeks. You know, could you just switch the bye weeks around where now they're on a bye week and, you know, whenever their scheduled bye week is now not a bye week? I mean, it's like a Sudoku puzzle. And so those things, to try and decide those things on 5 days notice, I mean, they said the tests were Tuesday. Yeah, so they shut down in-person activities Tuesday. So we're filming this on a Wednesday, right? Is today Wednesday? Today is Tuesday. Oh, coronavirus quarantine, how you do it like that. So it's happening right now, right? So from right now until like Thursday, they got to figure something out. Because you can't make this decision on Saturday. Teams have to travel. Teams have to do all that stuff. So you have to decide, like, within the next 48 hours, how are you going to do this? I think that the only way is to either replace the bye weeks with this game or push this game all the way to the end of the year and just skip it. Now, then you say, okay, well, you can't do that because you're giving these teams a free bye week and you're giving these teams extra rest and you're giving these teams an advantage. You know, now the Titans and the Vikings would have an extra week of rest versus whoever they play in 2 weeks. So is that fair? So you see the domino effect. And we're not even taking into consideration player safety. We're not even taking into consideration the idea that what is safe for the players. We are just talking about the competitive side of the game. I don't know. I mean, it's really hard to do. And we open the show just because this is a breaking thing. We open the show with this just because it's just now happening right now. I don't have an answer. I mean, what do y'all think, chat? We're going to chat right now. Dates don't matter anymore. Yeah, like Tuesdays, the same thing as Thursday, same thing as Saturday. Sunday's different because there's games, but that's about it. But I mean, what do y'all think that should be done? I mean, it's a logistical nightmare. It really is a logistical nightmare as far as trying to shuffle this around, because it's almost like you can't be fair in any way. You can't be fair saying, oh, we'll just take a week off. You can't be fair in saying, we'll play, but just don't do anything over the course of 4 days or whatever. I mean, do you test both teams? And if both teams don't have tests, then do you just let it go normally? Going back to chat here, think it will be played normally. So, okay, so that's kind of what we were saying. It may be played normally, but what if they suspend in-person practices and meetings and whatever? What if they suspend that today and tomorrow? So you're talking about 2 less prep days than the other teams. That's a big deal. That's a big deal, and it cannot be understated. So is it an injustice? Man, try and say that 5 times fast. Is it an injustice to make the teams play with less preparation? I think so. I think that's on the team for somehow going out and getting the virus. Well, I don't think you can punish the team for getting the virus. I mean, you never know how they got it. You know what I mean? Like, let's say all these players are super quarantined. All these players are doing exactly what they should be doing, but one of their kids got it from going to school. You know, like, I don't think that's worth a punishment. I don't think they're doing anything wrong. I mean, you can't. If that's the case, bubble the players. If that's the case, then make the players go into bubbles and do the season like that. But if the season can happen, you can't tell these players, don't see your family, don't see your kids, don't do that stuff. You can't punish them for that. I mean, it may not be their fault, but you can't penalize the other team. But can you? But do you penalize the team? Like, that's what I'm saying, is that you're penalizing the Titans or the Vikings because you're forcing them to play after not having the preparation. Now, here's another thought. Here's another one. Now, this would be tough too. I was going to say you could push the game back, like do the game on Monday, like have a doubleheader of Monday Night Football, but then that's so many logistics with the stadiums and all that stuff. So the teams that now got the virus are the ones who should get penalized. Yeah, but why? I'm not sure why they should get penalized. Why should they get penalized? Let's talk about that. Why should teams that get the virus get penalized? Because that comes with the implication that they did something wrong. What if they didn't do anything wrong? What if they're following regulations and they got it from just, like, I don't think it's a scarlet letter. Like, I don't think getting the virus should, be like a thing where you get the virus, you get penalized. That doesn't make any sense, because you can't penalize anyone else, and if you don't penalize the ones who got it, then you would be penalizing some random teams who don't have it. Life's not fair. I'm not saying anyone should be penalized. I'm not saying teams should get penalized. I'm saying, what's the easiest way to make this the most competitive for all parties involved? I'm not saying that some teams should be penalized, some shouldn't. I'm not saying that one should have an advantage, one shouldn't. I'm saying, what's the easiest way to normalize this situation to where you take care of the virus, you take care of the personal thing, and then you go from there. I mean, it almost seems like so see this thing, if y'all are listening on the podcast, you won't be able to see this, but there's an ad over here that says, my kids are eating me out of house and home, and then it says best freezers for the search bar. I just randomly looked and I thought it said breastfeeders, and I was like, what? That's not a solution. That's not a solution for your kids eating you out of house and home. It's to hire a bunch of breastfeeders. But anyways, what I'm saying is, this is something that happens, right? And this is the first time it does happen. So what is at play to fix it all? And maybe the best way is to test the whole teams, test both teams, figure out who's got it, figure out who doesn't, and then just go normal. Just say, okay, these 3 players who have it, GTFO for 2 weeks. And these players who don't have it, you can play and practice and everything's normal. Just test them all and go from there. I don't think you quarantine both teams for 10 days. I don't think that's the move. But we'll wrap up that conversation. Once you have one breastfeeder's reference, that's when you get out of there.